Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you for listening to part 1 of Honey It's Yours. This is now part 2 of the episode. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Hey guys, we're back to continue what we were just talking about in the last episode.
We last talked about...
That wasn't good.
Yeah, that was good.
I don't think so.
We last talked about being human, believing in Jesus, and still wanted to make music, and that leads us into our guest that we have today.
Welcome.
Spirit Fingers. Come on, Sarah.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
So introduce yourself, tell us your age, what you do.
If you want to.
Not all her business.
Ain't no like social security number, address,
Credit card.
That's all right.
Anyways.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alissa Renee, or you can just call me Renee. New artist. Just released an EP, actually.
Wow.
So excited about it. And I think, at first when Rihanna called me to join you guys and join the conversation, I was like, goodness, I don't have no experience doing nothing. But then hearing you guys talk, hearing the conversation, I was like, oh, wow, okay. I agree. I am gonna be 32 this month, so excited. I'm probably like the grandma in the room.
Please.
But
No, not grandma. The friend. We're not too far off.
But yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I don't think so.
Glad to be here.
Friends 7 years older than us. Yeah, that's fine. I'm saying we have a diverse group of friends. So.
Yeah, we do.
Not the grandma. More like the older cousin.
I'll take it. I probably should tell you the name of the EP. It's called Confidence.
Confidence. Ooh.
Yeah.
We'll have that link.
What inspired that EP? The name, the vibe
Well.
of it all. I'm sorry, put you on the spot.
No, it's not on the spot. I'm just trying to like make sure I go back to my notes, because so much of what you guys already talked about, it's some of what I battled for myself, because I am a Christian wholeheartedly.
Period.
That has released a secular album. And going back to the definition of secular, that's simply it. It's whether you're, and I think it's more based on the lyrics, like Rihanna said, where is my message about Jesus, or is my message about anything else? And anything else is literally anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that my album is wine and dine and I want to take you to bed. Like that's not it. And I'm going to get to one of your points that you made, Ashley. And forgive me if I forget any of your names. This is the first time I'm meeting everybody. I made a secular album, and I was kind of nervous about it, but it was how I was feeling. A lot of the songs, really, not a lot of the songs, all of the songs were based on something that I had been feeling, whether it was over the pandemic, over my life. So Confidence, the name of the EP, there's also a song called Confidence on there. In every aspect of my life, and in every aspect of my life, and with every person I've met over my life, they've always told me, Renee, you have such great ideas, you're an amazing this or that or that. You just don't have the confidence in what you're doing. You don't put yourself out there with everything that you have. And I work in government, and literally like every review that I've received from superiors, somebody had a line about me not being confident. And so that song was inspired by that and my desire to be more confident. So part of the lyrics is just, you wait until my confidence kicks in. There'll be no stopping me. There'll be no stop in me. So like that particular song was from that. And then to Ashley's point, you said, if my heart is broken and I'm a Christian, can I not write a song that my heart is broken?
Right.
This was the song. This particular song on the album called The End was about that. My heart had been broken several years ago. And I was a little nervous to release this song, because it is not the good vibes, encouragement that I always go for in my music, but it was more like
I'm in my feelings.
I'm in my feelings 100%.
And I want to sing about it.
And I want to sing about it. And I want to share it.
And you did.
And that's what. So that's
make a post about it.
That's what The End is about. It's about a past relationship where I'm like, I never should have believed anything this person said to me. We were too young to be feeling what we were feeling, but I still let you, let you come into my heart, let you wine and dine me, let you make me feel like I was gonna be your wife. Although I was very young. I won't even tell you how young I was when this happened. Because I would be like, girl, I promise you.
Story time.
But that's what that song was about. That's what that song was about.
So how did you reconcile the thought of you being in the world but not of it, being a Christian and making secular music? And how did you come to the point where you're like, I'm gonna put this out regardless of like my battles within? Or are you still battling with it as it's being out?
I don't think I'm battling as much because all of the feedback that I've been receiving are from people who actually know me.
Okay.
I haven't gotten much feedback from the folks that don't know me as Christian as me, because I'm pretty sure we haven't shared, but I'll share it so that everyone who's listening can know I'm also a praise and worship leader 100% of my life. And that mattered to me too. So it's like, gee, will people care that I am singing about this heartbreak and then having to sing and lead praise and worship on a Sunday? A part of my confidence move was I can't care. Not because I was worried that I'm going to lead someone astray. I'm not worried about that, because I think when people listen to encouraging music, it's not all the time about Jesus. Right. It could literally be about something that I'm helping you understand that I can relate to what you have experienced without, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong, without having to shove a message of Jesus. I can be who I am, because a lot of the time, or rather a lot of the conversation was about religion and what everyone needs to understand. It is about your relationship.
Yes.
You could go to church, you could open, the word says Satan knows the Bible in and out. So I can claim that I know the word in and out, but what is my life showing?
Right.
Right? So in my messages, or rather in my music, I am not explicitly sharing a message of Jesus Christ loves you, but a lot of my lyrics come from a place of me trying to remember, don't cry, Renee. Of me saying, I am enough. Jesus loves me. He loves my sound. He loves that I am using my gifts. And it's not to say that everything that I release will be on the secular side, in that it is not explicitly about Jesus. But there are some of the lyrics, even in this album, where I say, I know he'll show me the way. The hardcore religious people will be like, who's he? Who was Exactly.
They do that at the music awards, where they come and say, I just want to thank God, and he's like, what God are you talking about? Because if you don't say the name Jesus Christ, then I don't understand what God are you talking, because there's many gods. But there is.
I see people use that the equation nowadays, though. People just say God and don't realize that you actually have to say Jesus Christ.
Because legit.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that's a thing, because then you have to come to terms that you're actually a Christian, then you have to actually follow Christian values and the book. But
that comes with time.
I'm saying, like, in like the celebrity realm, everybody want to throw the word God around left and right.
I just want to thank God. He's the head of my life. Thank my mama. Thank you to the artist record label. Shout out to everybody that did this. We out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like, they say God, but then you're like, okay,
but I think they do know what they're referencing.
I hope so.
Okay, no, they do.
For the sake of the lightning,
because if you want to go through the deeper realm and go through the YouTubes and start watching different videos, the deep dive, the Illuminati's and the Satans and the different gods, the conspiracy theories, they know what God they're talking about. And those, I feel like it's not me to judge, because I'm who am I? But whatever person or entity that you're referring to, hopefully the one that truly knows will know your heart. That's what I have to say. And at the end of the day, it's night. That's it. For real. No, but for real.
Sorry. Keep going though. You were saying.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. There was something else you can you remind me? I'm gonna say Danae. You had talked about Madison Rain Ward. A lot of undertones of Christian. Some of her songs like, wait, is she talking about God? Oh snap, she's a Christian artist. Oh no, she's this. Go ahead.
So what I was saying is pretty much like, there's still secular music that's not all the way to the other lustful end of
Exactly.
like anti-Christ.
Exactly.
And you can still identify with God as a person without everything coming out your mouth having to have Jesus in it. And I feel like she's one of those artists. Like you can tell that her message is still one of light and hope. Exactly. And I don't feel like I'm losing my Christianity by listening to her. Go ahead.
Is it because you looked into the artist?
I actually didn't look into the artist until this episode. Oh. But it was just, it's like one of those things where like you walk into a room and people are like, there's something about you, like let your light shine. Like that whole concept of you being able to be a light in a place and people now trying to figure out what do you have that I want more of instead of always having to explicitly.
I think it would be interesting if you felt, like, this is just a random question I have, like if you felt like, okay, this person is different, but then you looked into the artist and that person isn't Christian. Like wild. I feel like, what is that then working within the music? What are you ingesting?
That's a good question.
And is it okay?
And is it okay to ingest?
I think it's not okay.
Like you were very intentional about listening to Christian music while you're working out, even though it's in the background, because that's like there's spirituality in everything that we do, right? So being intentional about what you consume, whether it be music, food, anything, people that you hang around, experiences, that affects you and how you move within the world.
That's crazy though, because I could not work out without some soca music or like a TV show. Yeah, it all hit the same, and I know maybe that's a problem.
It's not. It's not a problem.
I have to, because I'm not gonna get through the work. I'm gonna watch the TV. I'm gonna watch the video. I'm not gonna do it. I don't know.
I think it's that human part of it.
I think sometimes there's also a pressure that God is gonna like be judgmental or not, or see you differently, I guess. And this is my perspective. I don't think God is looking at me when I'm listening to the like gym music. If I play soca, if I play my piano, he's not gonna be like, oh, strike with lightning, like she's doing something wrong. Like I think it's part of being a human. I think that's what, it's just as long as you don't let that stray you away from coming back to him and his and your relationship with him at the end of the day. I think what I struggled with, and even talking about this in the part one, I think I need help. Like, stop laughing. This is like the third part. This is the third part of me saying I need help. So, I think my brain is wired to appreciate secular music a lot more than Christian music in general.
It's because you're being more close to it more.
Right. I'll only listen to Christian music on a Sunday morning on my way to church. Any other day, y'all said you wake up to Maverick City, you wake up to Madison, I don't know what her name is. Her.
Sorry to her.
Sorry if you ever see this. I wake up and I play Don Toliver or Snow Allegra or some of these like.
But do you realize
artists.
That you listen to something that's more slower in the feels?
Sometimes.
Sometimes
I'll be waking up on time.
Oh, you work. Oh, okay.
Okay, but how often is your sometimes? Because there's sometimes that I can't listen to that either. Like I need to get up today. Like
it's like probably once a week.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of sometimes.
Yeah. So, but also like during the day when I'm driving home, I'm not the first person I'm not playing is like Chris Tomlin. I'm not you know what I'm saying? Like those kinds of art.
But I'm not also like the
voice speak. Take time.
The days that I'm intentional about listening to gospel music in the morning is depending on where I'm going and what energy and what intention I want to walk into the day with, right? Some days I'm just mindlessly, I just shuffle and whatever plays while I'm in the
Sorry, I got
Holy
the chills.
And whatever plays, but I feel like that's just, for me, I'm going to listen to the secular and the non-secular, you know? Yeah. And I'm not trying to be righteously ratchet. But that's crazy. I just think that
it's bothering me.
Why?
But that's what it is. No, it's righteous and upbeat. We having a good time. It's like when people always get mad at Kurt Franklin, but Kurt Franklin been acting like that from Battle Cry days. You would swear it is like the craziest secular concert ever. He is ODing like that to the gospel song.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I'm also different. I listen to the RAGARAGA that you call RAGARAGA. Absolutely. Like I will put on the Pop Smoke. I'll put on the You Better Have Your Gun sometimes. You know, sorry, I like the music. Sorry. I like the music and I'm gonna listen to it, and then maybe 2 hours later I might just put on the Tasha Combs break
But
every
see,
chain
that's
because
my
I just need to
problem.
break the chain that I just came across on my phone. I just need to break that chain right now. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I be feeling like y'all better move out my way and y'all better have your gun. So it
depends on the mood.
But I guess
That's
I
my fight, though.
I have a problem too.
But I think
Also,
all of us.
But is that a problem?
I think it's a human problem in general, but it's like, again, you guys keep talking about the ingesting. I don't ingest very healthy music. I'll tell you that. Like, it's not like that music dictates my life, but that is me personally. I can't say that for people. Just to believe I'm not pouring no lean in my cup and all of that stuff.
But you would have you will have a drink. You will have a lit night.
Right, but shut up.
Wow.
Where was I going with this?
Sorry, I cut you off.
It's fine.
You're not ingesting. You're not showing that in your life.
It's not dictating my life, but I can't say that for other people where that music is tapped into here and is telling them what to do out there. That's where I struggle, because when we back to the praise playlist, I'm not gonna listen to it and think, "Amen, Jesus." I'm switching next to Young Thug.
Maybe that's just not what you.
I'm using that specific example more and more, but
Maybe
that's just
you
because
need to
I
find-
relate
Is it
to
because you think it's like a joke of Christianity?
a little bit,
Like it's like, oh, this was cute. They tried to like remix this.
a little bit. It doesn't seem effective to me.
And that's why I feel like Praise This, the movie with Chloe.
Like a parody.
What?
No, it was Chloe.
It seems like a
Chloe.
Kids
It
Bob
don't
version of it, and
It
like
was very
nobody
crazy.
takes Kids Bob serious. It's for kids, but
But that's also the way that you portray Christianity in this world.
You
It's
still
very-
always know the background influence and what brought that about. So like I understand when Rianne said that like they're trying to reach more people with this kind of music. Makes sense, cool. But you know how much you have to like unwind in people's brains not to associate this kind of music with a certain kind of lifestyle or a certain kind of like lyrics and artists. Like
I agree
that's
with
why
you.
I don't like it. It's
I see it
boring.
working more for children than for actual adults. I agree with you in like your entire.
So then how do you reach the adults?
Je ne sais.
That's the question.
I don't
Because
know.
like that's difficulty, because part of our purpose on this earth is to spread the word of God. So the music sounding like Gunna is not gonna, at least to me, I don't know.
It depends on the person, right? Because
Okay.
I think someone brought up a gray area in the last episode, and the gray area I would say is relative, because depending on which generation you're from, the person you brought up Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin was a gray area for a lot of people who used to listen to the older, right? So, but we know Kirk Franklin as a Christian artist.
Yeah.
We didn't start listening to Kirk Franklin in my household until probably I was about 10 years old. And the rest of my friends knew Kirk Franklin, but my mom was stuck on people like Babby. I'm gonna call names you guys probably don't even know. Helen Beller, Babby Mason, like back in the day, 90s gospel music. And Kirk Franklin was considered teen too much, or the gray area at the time.
He was a
CeCe
revolutionary.
Winans. CeCe Winans was considered, oh, is she talking about God? It depends on your generation. So I get what you're saying. I am not for the remixing of the secular music, but I am interested and I understand why people create Christian music that kind of sounds like trap, that kind of sounds like whatever. I used to listen to Christian rap all the time, but it was the 90s Christian rap. I didn't know any other kind of rap because once again, my parents didn't allow us to listen
about like
to.
Lecrae. That's the only
I knew Lecrae when he was a part of the group. There was a larger group that they had, Cross Movement. Yeah, I don't know nothing about Cross. Yeah, I never even heard.
I'm also Haitian American.
we gonna have a lot to learn this episode.
So all the Haitian Americans out there that don't know any American music, I hear with you. The Sean is feelings. That's all we have. And that's like the hymn book.
Because that's true.
That's it.
I like my parents.
don't
Like
remember
they listen to like old school Arabic music, but they also listen to like old school like worship music. And I grew up listening to that. But my first like non-Arabic music was Lil Wayne. He was the first one, in like the second grade. So my like secular music has been since the beginning, and like it's not like I grew up in a Christian household too. So, but me and my sister would always bounce music off of each other, and like non-secular music wasn't a part of that because we always heard it from my parents. And we moved here, and even in church, the Kenyan culture, they worshipped with like random. There was nothing like I could listen to. It was more just what I heard in church and how we celebrated after church. It wasn't anything like substantial that I could take home with me to keep that in my ear.
That same thing, yeah.
So the thing I had was the downloads of the secular music. And then when I moved here, and then I started being exposed to like, you know, the Chris Tomlin, those kinds of artists. Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that, but like,
no, it's funny that you keep bringing up Chris Tomlin though.
Because I can't think of any of the other artists. I really can't. Lauren Daigle, I think, was it her name?
Yeah, that's
like.
one.
But she's also like not all her music is explicitly about Jesus.
I know that.
You gotta listen to it. You gotta.
I didn't know
my
that.
mom would be like, "What is she talking about?"
I didn't know that either. But like even like gospel music, I just started knowing gospel music in like undergrad. Did not know it before that. So my exposure to this kind of music is very recent and limited. Although I did listen to a lot of it in like spaces of time in my relationship with God. But like nowadays I can't say that gospel music and Christian music is in my cycle because sometimes it's just a little bit boring. But sorry.
Or that's why they do what they do. That's why they switch it up a bit.
Trappy and rappy and to try and make it something that will reach someone who is interested in the young thug and the gunna. But if it's corny,
right?
Do you have a lot? I mean, outside of like, and you don't have to answer this, but like, do you have a lot of people outside of us that are also in a place where they may be listening to Christian music?
Not until law school. Like I have 2 friends in law school that are doing like Christian, but outside of y'all, and no, I don't.
I mean, it doesn't answer the question about like how we're reaching other people, but I get that because the same way that you bounce secular music off your sister, like that's kind of like the same thing with us. Like I grew up in a very Christian household as well. The beauty is my church has always been a little bit more dynamic from the rest of our denomination. Like we were dancing and miming and had a step group years ago before that was like even a thing that was allowed or like considered to be okay in churches. So I always was exposed to creative ministries that have allowed me to hear those music. But still, it was me and Kristen bouncing, okay, Nicki Minaj album, India Ari. Like, I mean, it's definitely very 2 different artists. But like, all that stuff was happening in our house to the same degree. But I am also exposed in my day-to-day to people who will just be having gospel playing in the car that may not sound the same way. Or even like, Ashley and Peyton are in my car a lot. I listen to a lot of secular music, but it's more R&B, soul. So they're going to be exposed to that, whether they have a choice or not, because that's what I play in my car. Right. So I think that also could play a role in it as well. Like you're not going to, I don't want to say you're not, but it's going to be harder for you to become palatable to music that you don't spend any time really and truly interacting with outside of when you on your own ground and standing have to do it for yourself.
I think I was on Sarah's timeline, and I think I'm more in the middle because I grew up in a Haitian church. So in a Haitian church, it's Haitian music, and Haitian music, most of it was derived from the hymn book. And there was similarly to the American gospel realm, where it's like we're not gonna play this because they're teetering the line. The teetering line was this sounds too much like compa, which is the cultural music of Haiti, which is one of the genres of Haitian music. So like the way that they play the drums, some pastors had a little tussle within themselves if they would allow musicians to play music a specific type of way. For example, during the praise breaks, right? The praise breaks sound very much like the music breaks that are in compa music. So they're like, we're not gonna, but like that, like that sounds too much. They're like, we're not gonna do that. So like for me, I had to be a little bit more intentional, even about music in general, to, especially in the house, sounded the same from church. So I had to be intentional about finding other music that wasn't Haitian, especially being mostly in groups of people that weren't Haitian. Yeah. And so that you can incorporate that with a lot, being in groups of people that aren't Christian. So I had to be a little more intentional about looking for other music. So I feel like that's the part like I was talking about. Like sometimes music listeners are lazy about and not being intentional about listening and finding new artists. So,
but that's
I was there.
No, it's not like I'm not intentional about finding Christian artists. I'll say that, or like people that make Christian music. Like I'm intentional about finding artists.
For example, like me and you both interact on the same. Like, oh, Drake is dropping tonight. Right. So like I had to be the person like, okay. I heard this one, like even about introducing English songs into Haitian churches, that was a whole thing. too, right?
Yeah.
So
For us,
I heard when I would visit another church during like a revival week where like churches would cross over with each other, I heard that one English song. So who played that sounded different. I had to be like,
Shazam.
and then go through the album and be like, okay, I don't like this. This was this was boring. This song is kind of slow. I'm about to fall asleep on this.
Right.
One. But I like this. And then who was featured on that? Okay, go here. And that's how I found everything. And I started playing the music while I was in the shower, and that started exposing my parents to more English songs, even though they intake it or not. But then also the first gen is now the praise dance groups I was in. Now they're more introducing English songs. So now the timeline has passed where there's more English songs in Haitian churches, and it's being more mixed because of the diversity in the church. I'm talking about generations in the church. But yeah, I feel like it's the intention part about finding music. Like that Kids Bop thing that you listen in Rianne's car, it's not gonna be for you. I probably have
I'm dragging the example because it just kept popping up in my head. Like that.
She was flabbergasted.
I was like, bro, there's no way this is real for like 15 minutes.
But I also say that about the secular music too.
Kudos to
Like,
the intention.
this is not real music. Like, what are we listening to right now?
This topic is so wild because now I want to call my pastor, not Justin, like my old pastor Vigo, who's like my godfather, because he's that generation of like we had to fight to get a lot in the church. Like even like the My Ministry, that was like he's the type that you can't do like he is my daddy, I will not beg for bread, because daddy's not Jesus. It doesn't say Jesus in it, so it's just like a very I want to know what he has to say. I'm calling him after.
It goes back to like the timeline of music, like whether it's secular or non-secular. That timeline of music of older generations having an issue with younger generations of music and mishmash.
Renee, what else did you feel like you wanted to add on from part one that you heard or agreed with?
So there was a point made about trying to reach other people. So like you have your Christian music, or rather you're a Christian artist, and now you're trying to diversify your audience. I think that's some of the reasons why people will bring on secular artists onto their album. The point I want to make there is, while Christians are making music, what people who are listening need to remember, yes, you as a person, you're able to worship to it, but this is also a business. This is also their job. So you have to factor in not just, yes, this came from their heart, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Somebody else could have wrote that.
Because sometimes it's just a writing assignment and it ended up being dope, and then someone's life actually is touched by it. Great. It's a job. This is what they do to make money. This is what they do for a living. So in some sense, sometimes I am okay with the new or secular artists coming in to sing. I won't call any names because then because not all the time I'm okay with it. Okay. Not all the time, because like the Kanye, I did not listen to anything that Kanye West did because he's a man. I'm not gonna listen to anything you produce because it could be about Jesus, but I know that was just a writing assignment for you. That was not because you believe in Jesus. And you know what? From me looking, I'm not. I don't know anybody's salvation. I don't know their relationship, but from what I see about Kanye, I would not pick up myself to go listen. I mean, I didn't listen to his music when it was the other stuff either. And I don't particularly know that I would go listen to Drake's album if he decides to make a Christian album. I listen to some Drake, but I'm not about to go listen to his
not making a Christian album.
I'm not looking for.
He will not be the basis of my Christianity.
Yeah, exactly. And a part of that goes back to Sarah's point on about
Maverick City and being on the album.
There was that, and then about putting out Dante Bowe because of, I didn't even know that was the problem. I thought it was something more stringent that happened. Why they put him out, but
they said he was associated with over-sexualized music. I just looked it up in the episode.
Okay, because I just saw it from TikTok,
So that's a different source. That point, being associated with over-sexualized music makes a difference in my mind than just secular artists. So when I bring out music, I'm actually very what's the word I want to use? I make sure that nothing I say
can lead astray.
Not necessarily lead you astray, but I'm never gonna be like, oh, you made me take my clothes off, you made me feel like a this, like
very intentional.
Never, you're not gonna get that from my music
or anything that you decide to feature.
Hold the point real quick. Right. I just need to clarify. Dante Bo said himself, admittedly, I accidentally posted a photo of myself that was like inappropriate, but it wasn't a sexual photo. He only had on a tank top. Like if you got out the shower, you take a picture, only with a tank top, and you weren't close enough to the mirror that you weren't seeing, you know, all the portions. You know, the V cut was showing.
So
that's from his mouth.
So
hold on.
The problem.
And then it also says Dante Bo criticized by fans for overly sexualized music video with women twerking. So he got a lot.
So there were a couple hits on his name.
Okay, I mean,
he wasn't on one hit wonder.
Understood. So with that, but there is a difference from being featured on someone's album.
But I still have an issue with that because Friday's album, for example, right? All his songs in that, for me, I feel like similar to what you were saying. You're very intentional about what you put out and what you're featured on. For me, if I was a Christian artist, right, and I'm putting out Christian music that explicitly talk about Jesus and some music that doesn't explicitly talk about Jesus, if I'm featured on a specifically secular artist's album, I think I want to see what's on the album, what's the rest of the content's gonna be like. Because if I'm listening to Friday and I listen to the first couple songs, I'm like, oh, this is some empowering music. I can see the Christianity shown behind what he's saying. Or
for
whatever.
Context,
his mom prays on
the song. His mom is praying, and he's like, thank you for everything that you've done for me,
I've gone through, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I skip a couple times, and then the next song is
can't wait to open your legs.
That's intense. Like, I don't know that. Yeah,
I like that. I'm just saying that. That's intense.
No, but like I feel like that's the part I have a problem with. Not that I'm here to condemn or judge anybody, but I kind of look sideways like.
You're allowing yourself to be allowing. I don't know how your contract was worked out if you were able to see all of that.
Yeah,
but I feel like
from the outsider looking in, it looks like you're okay with everything that's on that project that your name is attached to.
Yeah.
So and then you're kicking out a member that was overly sexual, but then you're on an album that talks about sexual things. So it's kind of like,
which one?
Like, but then can we, aside from like the business portion of the music, like maybe we couldn't see, maybe we didn't know, but is it your responsibility as a Christian artist to make that your thing, to be like, I want to make sure that my name and the content I put out reflects what I believe in?
I think that's up to you. That's up to the artist. And I think if you really care about that, if you care about it that much, so like if the business side of it and your creative side, like, and you're Christian, like if it's the same, then I don't think they'd care. But if one outweighs the other, then I think for me personally, I have to think about all of the older adults in my life who love my music. I'm like, shoot, I want my mom to hear this song.
No, that part. With content creation, like, mom, can you come to the album release party? No.
But then it's like,
can sister so and so hear this?
But are you putting the boundaries, like the whole generation of music conversation? Now, are you the one to push the boundary? Are you the one now to be the?
But is that pushing the boundary though? Like, when you say push the boundary, what do you mean?
Like, you know how it's like some people aren't okay with newer types of Christian music. So are you the one to be the example?
But that
are you the one to be the Kirk Franklin?
Ooh. But that case is not even the same.
Oh, not to bring like. Not to, I see. I'm just saying, like in general, are you the one to be called the Kirk?
I think it's my responsibility to put out music that I'm okay with, and I'm gonna keep it like very black and white like that, because whether it was a Christian artist or not, if I'm putting my name on something, if I'm in this field, I should be okay with everything I put out with. All these people that go left and start doing the drugs and all that, that's when they now, I'm sorry, like, they start I'm sorry, I say some mock stuff, but like, that's when you started to lose autonomy over either your music or yourself. Like, you became lost in who you were, and that's when everything goes left.
They told you that you needed to be. Right. Because you have managers and all of that are telling you this is what's going to make you the money, this is what's going to make you pop, so you start to do all of the things.
And then before you know it.
Yeah.
And you lose yourself.
You're Chloe. I'm sorry.
I have a very random question.
I'm sorry.
Accusation.
No, but like, then she started up as like doing the covers on the gospel music with her.
I think they said though they were never.
And then now she's exploring her sexuality and stuff.
But then that could have been enforced by adults and parents in her life.
I'm just an observer.
Yeah. It's also like honestly, a lot of artists have started out
just seeing.
I'm just seeing.
Yeah. Wait, we missed it.
So a lot of artists start out singing in church, but now when you have a say of what you do for yourself, but just because if I'm 8 and I'm singing and my parent got to drop me there, I'm going to sing where they said I could sing. When I'm now grown with my own money, I can go sing and do what I want to do.
Right. Exactly.
I'm looking at you.
So I have a question. This is kind of random, but kind of goes along with what we're saying. There's a gospel choir sound. Mm-hmm. That kind of musical soul. That tone. Right. Mm-hmm. I have trouble when that is used for non-gospel reasons. Because I think artists nowadays are sometimes using that sound to give a little oomph to their track or their single, but not understanding that it's called a gospel choir for a reason.
It's not all the time called a gospel choir. It's a choir.
A choir. The choir sound is different.
People. A choir is simply a group of people, more than just
an
this
ensemble.
It's a crowd of people that give you that larger voice.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a part of an issue too, because when you're so stuck to only knowing gospel choirs, every time you see a choir, you're like, oh, they're gonna sing about Jesus? No, it's a choir. They're gonna sing what they're gonna sing. And so I don't want you to associate choir with gospel.
Yeah.
Choir is just a group of people who are singing together.
Thanks. I needed that. I think that's what I had trouble with, because I haven't grown up around like choirs or like that kind of music. So to me, gospel and choir just
they go together.
They go together.
That's fair.
So, and going to other churches outside of my church, I just fairly recently started doing that in the last like 5 or 6 years, exposure-wise. So other churches are very big on gospel choir and choirs in general. Our church is not like that. Mm-hmm. So even like that kind of dynamic was new to me. So the idea of separating a choir and the gospel choir, I needed that. Thanks.
I think it's also like we still have to remember that we're still talking from very limited perspectives, right? Because
So what?
We our limited perspective, because there's a million denominations of Christianity, and we don't even know
what
a lot of what. I feel like for me, I kind of have the privilege of being a part of a larger denomination that our church necessarily does not reflect. So that we have like our Caribbean church, but we are like the Black Caribbean church in our larger Churches of Christ of Christian Union denomination, which is palm colored and like very old school hymnal based to the T. So I think like I've seen the choirs that's not like it's a choir, but it wouldn't be considered like African American gospel choir sound. So I think just like keep that in mind as we're talking to like we're still Haitian church. I don't even know what church y'all denomination is. I barely know.
I think we come from the same thing where it's like the denomination we're a part of is a lot of other churches are the palm colored churches, and we're like one of the few predominantly Black churches that are part of the larger organization.
Right. My question, like, I feel like me and Danae have had this conversation about like denomination. What is your denomination? For example, I know you're Coptic Christian.
Yes.
What is that?
Coptic.
Egyptian, like you know the Orthodox churches, we're very similar to Greek Orthodox people, but we're Egyptian Orthodox. So like the disciple Saint Mark is the one that started the Coptic church in like Egypt, and then it grew from that and spread everywhere. So like you guys say palm colored and like Black churches.
No, but
we are only like before the last like 10 years, we were only Egyptians, part of the denomination, only Egyptians. So then we started baptizing people from the outside because they realized, hey, we need to be a little more inclusive. Because also like Ethiopians have their Orthodox churches and we're like sister churches almost, and like Greek Orthodox sister church. So like all these sister churches, we need to start becoming more together.
Kumbaya.
And so that's my denomination.
I've grown up in Pentecostal Christian churches and have visited some Haitian Baptists, but predominantly Haitian churches. So most of them are either Pentecostal or Baptist. So when you talk about you guys' denomination, what is the line? Like, do you guys believe in water baptism, or is it a sprinkle? Like, what is your denomination?
I'll let you take the lead.
That's fine, because then I'll talk about both sides of it. So where I grew up was known as Pentecostal. But we were predominantly Jamaican, West Indians. Like that's where most of the congregation came from. So it was the water baptism. Everyone, we believe that the Holy Spirit can be among us and cause the speaking of tongues, or that we believe in everything, right? In all of that, rather, I should say. The church that we are in now, I'm going to say it's Pentecostal as well, but a part of a larger organization called Assemblies of God. So the pastor that I was with at my previous church is the pastor at the church I am now. And it's all of the above: water baptism, Holy Spirit, the Trinity, like everything. What I will say is that he continues to enforce the fact that this is he wants everyone to think outside of the box of denomination. Right? It's not that we need to just believe in everything that's out there, but it is that this is beyond religion. Where are you in your relationship with God?
Right.
Absolutely.
I think that's where.
And then
the church.
Sorry, go ahead. We're not Pentecostal, any of that. My church's name is Miller Evangelical Christian Union Church, but we are not evangelical. Our denomination is Churches of Christ and Christian Union. But it does have technically roots in that world. Like our doctrine is like the sanctification and holiness doctrine. In many ways, if you were looking at it, it would look to you somewhat like evangelical churches, but it's not the same. And we're very much just biblical word based. We do believe in water baptism. It's not that we do not believe in speaking of tongues. It's just that technically in the Bible, if somebody is speaking in tongues, there should be somebody else in the same space that is able to translate it.
You see, I didn't even bring that up because it's so ingrained in us, not to cut you off, that's because literally after praise and worship, someone will pop up speaking in tongues. He's not saying another word until the translation comes.
Right.
And I agree with you. Like,
so,
I'm experienced.
Exactly. So a lot of the things that may become skewed is like, or in the way that it's presented is, you just see like people speaking in tongues,
and we move
and you
on.
don't.
And then we keep pushing.
There's no transition. Like the whole concept of teaching to speak in tongues, it's a little sketchy because
it's a lot of sketchy.
I'm not trying to offend people, but like biblically, I agree though. Like you don't need to teach it because it comes from the whole Holy Spirit came and rested upon us and dwelled among us, and then there's always somebody there to translate it. So it's not that we're against other things per se, but it's very, 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 very doctrinal, very word based. If it ain't in the Bible, all of that stuff is good, fine, and dandy, because we like. Our church derived from a lot of like what is the thing? Colonialism. So like a lot of the churches I forgot, but like a lot of the churches in the Caribbean will have a Christian Union branch somewhere. That's all us, but really and truly, if you would look at the larger denomination, they're attached to the people who are leading it are
the colonizers.
The reason why I asked this, but to preface that, I'm gonna take back the sorry if we offend anybody, because the word of God is not there to offend. It's to stand apart, like, right? So if it offends and it touches apart, maybe go back and research, or maybe question, because God also talks about like questioning and going back to the word and make that conviction for yourself. So I'll take that back. But the reason why I asked that is because different denominations have their own view on music. So I was gonna ask, like, what is your
ours is very conservative
view on music?
Like our church is extremely conservative. Like even like we were the first ones to bring dance to our denomination when we got there. So other churches were like, you see, they're doing it in Brooklyn. Can we do it? But that's because we also have the cultural influence.
Do you know why they were against dancing to music? Because David danced.
Yeah, but it's also just like praise him with very specific kinds of things and very specific kinds of way. And it's the same thing of like Haitian church, what is being associated with modesty, what is not okay. They don't listen to a lot of certain artists. So even certain dance forms that are not innate in them culturally, they don't even think to bring it into the church because of that. It was just a very different world.
Another question about culture and religion, but I was gonna go down the line. I'll say for my church, music. So the American Coptic churches and the European Coptic churches are not really a fan of outside music or like bringing outside culture into the church. But when the church started spreading in like East Africa and like Central Africa and also West Africa, they realized that our church cannot just stay how it is, because we're serving different communities praise differently. So when my dad started his service in Kenya, he was all in on the dancing and the worship right after church. But like the Pope and the question,
you said after, yeah.
Like after like church service, when like the church service, how do I say it? After we finish communion, we do like choir and singing.
Okay.
And the singing is, but like that's not existent here in America. So like the church that I go to, once you finish communion, we pray.
The church
and
structure
we out.
is very structured.
Yes.
Right? It's almost like Catholic Church in the
Exactly.
sense that it's the same time every week.
Exactly.
It's this order.
Exactly.
You know what you're
But
going to get.
in Kenya, it was very much not like that. There was zero structure. In the middle, we were praising and worshiping, having like an hour for that, and then at the end, we do the same thing. And whenever it ends, it ends. So when we moved here, I really didn't like our church. I didn't like the Coptic church at all because it was boring. I didn't. What is this? And like they wanted me to learn the traditional Coptic language because that was the oldest language that existed. I'm not doing none of that because I didn't do that back then. And I didn't. My dad was always like, I'm not learning this either. He's the priest. He's like, I'm not doing this. So when you were saying like the different communities, the Coptic church had to adjust to the communities it was serving, but it was huge backlash from the traditional old ways of doing things because they didn't understand the cultures that they were serving. So when the church decided to like sprout out, it was like, yeah, but this stuff isn't that bad. It actually brings more people in and makes church more enjoyable. That was just
what
my
about you guys?
two-piece.
Your denomination and music.
We got music.
Yeah, it's I would say that we're less strict in that our pastor always wants to make sure that we are able to invite the community around us in. So when we got there, they already had dance ministry, they had a step ministry, like they had a whole bunch of things that first coming from the church that I was coming from, I was like, oh, y'all about to dance here, because that's not how it was previously. Music wise, we do everything in terms of sometimes the praise break includes a compa beat or a Jamaican beat, and what it brings people to is back home, not necessarily back to where they used to be before Christ. For some people it may do, but of course you can't always meet everybody's needs. As well as what churches need to recognize, and I might ruffle some feathers with this, is that yes, you have your way of doing things, but you have the generation that is going to take up leading the church after you, right? So you have to be able to open up. I'm not saying to let people play whatever they want to play, and now we're playing. Right, you can be adaptable within reason, because after you're dead and gone, these people have to.
Part again, dead and gone, because there's a lot of old.
You have to be able to like make the youth feel okay with leading the service and being okay with liking this kind of music that is a Christian music. It just doesn't sound like a hymn.
Right. Yep.
Right? As a praise and worship leader, Rianne wouldn't be, thank you. You're saved from this kind of heartache. But Christmas, I did so many like Christmas things. Like we sang hymns. Like the moment like November rolls around, we're like
Christmas.
We're doing Christmas. We got a complaint that we didn't do enough Christmas hymns.
We get it every service, to the point now that we make sure we're including a certain amount of stuff.
And when I say I did the hymns, though, I did the hymns, but I didn't do Go Tell It on the. I did Maverick City's Go Tell It on the Mountain, and everyone loved it, because I'm able now to give you your hymn as an older adult and to give you the vibe as a younger adult. Yeah. But they weren't happy with it.
Another thing that I've noticed, and I could be completely wrong with this in a certain extent, is like sometimes because we may be, I don't want to say like city, but like we have a lot more diversity in our communities too. The churches are more inclined to pull from those different things. And I'm talking about like from my denomination's perspective, like our section of the denomination is in Ohio, where a lot of the churches are in everybody look the same. So they have less of they have to be more intentional, or the youth that have now gone out into the world and heard things have to be the ones to bring it back, because it's not like us. Like my church right now, we're Caribbean, but we're also based in Crown Heights, and the neighborhood is gentrifying, and we're now like, okay, we have to start bringing these other types of music, and we have to pull the community into the church. So yes, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question, right? And
you're asking a lot of questions. You need to answer them too.
Okay, my answer is similar to y'all. It was like a lot of older Haitian churches are stuck in their ways, and I would say the elders of the church are stuck in their. They see church a certain way, and that's how church must be.
Comfortable,
right? If they grew up they grew up very religious, and if the church service doesn't follow A, B, C, and one Sunday you want to do A, C, B, it's oh my gosh,
up in
Jesus would not be happy about this.
Up in arms.
Relax.
Take a breath.
Take a breath. You know.
Definitely.
Okay. But I feel like since I have moved away from my family, where my family used to worships, I am more diversified in thought of like it's certain things are okay, right? But my question is the have to change or like have to evolve with the world around us, right? That's the question I have. Like I also like the whole thing of being in the world but not being of it. This conversation always runs in my mind is like, does the church have to evolve, and or does it, or can it just stay? You know, like what I'm saying? I don't know.
I get the
I don't know
question.
if
No, the question is very clear.
It's very clear.
Yeah,
What the church has to do is love. That's what the church has to do. And in the inability to sometimes evolve means that you're not showing love. Because I have people coming in
I'm writing stuff down.
that are like, you know, they have their short clothes on and they're and the first thing you want to yell at them is get the prayer blanket and No, you don't know their heart. You don't know that they put on all that they had. You don't know that this was the last clean thing that they had and they decided to come into the house of God. But instead of focusing on thinking, okay, I don't know everything about this person, let me show them love. Jesus Christ, he never did that in any room that he went into.
He was
even in
prostitutes, bro. Those were his best
See, then there's the other side of that where people use that and they're like, oh, I could go to the club.
Yeah,
no. You're not there yet. You're not there
Take
yet.
it slow.
But he made a difference no matter what room he was in. He showed love no matter what room he was in. And a lot of the times, he chose to go into the rooms of the prostitutes, like you brought up, and the people who drank, and the people who stole from the community, the tax collectors. But he made a difference in their lives because he chose to love on them.
Yeah.
He didn't just see what was wrong with them. He chose to love them. So again, in the church's inability to evolve sometimes, you're not showing love. And that's the only thing the church needs to do is show love.
That's a great way.
That was amazing. I just want let's dwell in that message right there. Take a second. Cool. Okay. If that touched anybody, you know, that touched me because I feel like, it's not led in love. A lot of conversations aren't led in love. And also the other side of it is the love can be used to now show people what is the biblical way to live life. I feel like, you know, just, you know.
Yes. I agree, because even like, and this is going to take it left and we could bring it back after, but you know, in this dating age, I'm real tired. I'm real tired of the church hurt.
Yeah.
Real tired of the church hurt. And that's the church's problem. Like, it's the church's fault.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally like, every guy that I've dated this year, no, my mic, you know, I speak loud. It's going here. Every guy that I've dated has church hurt because of something stupid. Oh, when they wasn't even born yet. When my mom was pregnant with me, the church shunned her. What is wrong with you?
That's what's wrong with them. They just told
no. I'm talking about the church. I 100% agree. I just had to it was on my chest.
And I think that leads into music too. I feel like sometimes I could be speaking out of turn here, where it's like some people leave the non-secular music into the secular because of some church hurt, or because, you know, honestly, life happens, business happens, and they need to make money sometimes, and you know, the jumbo is now mixed.
The jumbo is mixed.
What's
the jumbo?
Jumbo, okay.
All right.
So
sorry.
Like,
off camera.
I'll tell you that.
Jumbo?
Yeah.
I thought you said gumbo.
Jumbo, mumbo jumbo. The mix, gumbo.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Come on. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't do it.
Okay. Are we good?
Yes, we
are.
All right. Renee, we do a quote at the end of every episode.
You're about to read something.
Yes, we do quotes at the end.
We do a quote at the end of every episode to conclude.
So this is before the quote, we do want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here.
No, we didn't do the quote first.
I say thank you first.
She made this week.
So I'm gonna skip some parts. And then, because it's long, but I feel like certain parts need to.
Whatever your heart desires.
Love never ends. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when perfect things come, the partial will come to an end. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I will know fully as I am fully known. Now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. And that was really 1 Corinthians 13 from 8 to 13, but I skipped some parts and put some parts together because it's real long.
Well, anyways, we want to thank Renee for being our beautiful guest and giving us amazing perspectives.
Yes.
Awesome. Your EP is Confidence, right? Confidence is the EP. Make sure you check that out.
It's going to be down to the side.
Have to.
Post.
Wherever
Brian is in charge. So.
Yeah, if it ain't there, it's her fault.
Not too
As always, like, comment, subscribe, tune in on all platforms, interact on Instagram. I'm not Trish. I hate y'all. Swipe on my story. I'm tired of it.
We just said we just love.
No, I have beef. Anyways,
It's because
we love y'all and peace out.
I need to stop doing that because I know this is going to be a recording.